Hello and welcome back to Elden Ring. This is part, I believe, 12 of our Dexterity run through the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. Last time, we went through Shadow Keep, going from the first floor, talking to Ansbach, to the fourth floor, to the seventh floor, talking to Freya, and Ansbach disappeared. I think that's because we helped Hornsent kill Letta. But that does run into the problem of Freya wants something from Ansbach and now he's just gone. So, don't know if we can help her there anymore. But we also went through the Rao Ancient Ruins, starting from Viaduct Minor Tower, getting all the way to the end with the Church of the Bud main entrance, leaving nothing but the boss left. And in that part, we got the Winged Serpent Helm. We got the Spider Scorpion Ashes, the Bond Stone, the ability to craft Sprite Stone to go with the Bond Stone. We got Devonia's Hammer and Crucible Hammer Helm. We got at least one Skidoo Tree Fragment. We got Divine Bird Feathers Incantation, the Pest Thread Spears Incantation, the ability to craft hefty rot pots, the Sword of Light, which we can come back to this in a minute because I actually figured out what this is all about. We got the Mottled Necklace +2, the incantation aspects of the Crucible Bloom, at least one Revered Spirit Ash, Vertiger's Discus, the incantation Divine Beast Tornado, the ability to craft hefty lightning pots, the Ash of War Flame Spear that came with the Winged Serpent Helm. And yeah. So, about the Sword of Light. So there were two different locations where there were these like stone thrones, I suppose you would call them. There was one around here at this, I believe. And there was another one in the ruins of Unte. And on the first run, I found this one first, and it gave me a stone sword. And then coming here, it got turned into the Sword of Light. Whereas on the second run, I came here and got the stone sword. And then going here, it turned into the Sword of Light. Well, I figured out what that was. So there's actually three. The third one is just past the Fog Rift Fort up here in the Fog Rift Catacombs. There's actually a third one hidden in there, which I did not find on my first character. But I did find on a separate character through being very thorough. Though I haven't recorded that character. But I found that along with a few other goodies. Not going to do that catacomb this run, but I'm thinking I'm going to do it next run. And I can show off all the secrets that I found there in the next run. But what I think is going on is, and when I interacted with the one here, the Sword of Light turned into a Sword of Darkness. And so what I think is that there's three, and whichever one you go to first gets you the stone sword, whichever one you go to second gets you the Sword of Light, and whichever one you go to third gets you the Sword of Darkness. My only problem with that is both the Sword of Light and the Sword of Darkness do physical and holy damage. And I wasn't a super big fan of that. Partially because that just means less variety. And partially because a ton of weapons, especially in the DLC, just have holy damage tacked on. And I'm not a big fan of that. Like the Black Steel Twin Blade, I don't see why it has to have holy damage. I would think that if anything it would have fire damage, considering it's part of Mesmer's army. And Mesmer's army uses fire so much. So, not a big fan of holy being slapped onto absolutely everything, but we found that. And I also haven't played in a week, and when I spawned in, I think it was here by a demi-human boss. I have no idea why I was over there. I thought that it was going to be to come to the Finger Ruins to get the talisman, but I already have it, so I assumed I would just come here and see what's going on here. So that's why I'm here now.
I've no interest in small talk. My only concerns are the concerns of Count Ymir, and you are not among them.
Well, he's giving us advice and maps and whatnot, so we might be a concern of his, in some capacity.
Oh, there you are. The exalted timbre of the bell has reached these ears of mine. Gracious, the starry sky is wondrous tonight indeed. Only your fate shines brighter. Now, these are for you. Think nothing of it. I have made my decision to be of help. May the gleaming stars guide you evermore. Ah, you met Jolan. Well, I hope that she behaved, at least. The poor girl has overcome grave misfortune. Her tongue can be sharp at the best of times, but don't think that makes her a bad person. It's no surprise her little sister, too, has a heart of gold. I fear that you have borne witness to the whole of it. The conceits, the hypocrisy of the world built upon the Earth Tree. The follies of men. Their bitter suffering. Is there no hope for redemption? The answer, sadly, is clear. There never was any hope. They were each of them defective. Unhinged from the start. Marika herself. And the fingers that guided her. And this is what troubles me. No matter our efforts, if the roots are rotten, then we have little recourse. Ever young Mikola saw things for what they were. He knew that his bloodline was tainted, his roots mired in madness. A tragedy if ever there was one. That he would feel compelled to renounce everything when the blame lay squarely with the mother.
Okay.
May the gleaming stars guide you evermore.
Now, you may have noticed that I have Ice Spear on this. And not Flame Spear, which I had before. And the reason is I tested these. I tested Flame Spear compared to Ice Spear. And what I found was not only does Ice Spear take less FP, it's actually better. At the very least, it does more damage. Because it does more damage, it costs less FP, and it can trigger Frostbite, which is nice. The only problem or the only thing that makes Flame Spear potentially better, is that it puts fire on your weapon, whereas Ice Spear doesn't do anything for your weapon at all. So that's the only potential thing where Flame Spear could be better. But I don't think that's enough. Though with that being said, we can head off to the Hinterland. Now, I don't think there's anything here in terms of Skidoo fragments or revered spirit ashes. I don't think there's anything here, which is not very good, but we were at like 16 and 7, so there's only 4 and 3 upgrades to go respectively. Which isn't that bad. I was a bit too slow with the roll. Oh, beautiful, you'll have to see it. Gotta make sure that we're not using too much stamina though. Wanted to make sure that we don't go off the map and that we don't use too much stamina and that we're not being too aggressive. I forgot that you don't get any runes until after you kill both. We can pop this to get our health back. Then we can move on to Shaman Village. And here, yoink, minor Erd Tree. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but minor Erd Tree is not what was expected. In case you don't know, it's a very potent heal. Like, it gives a lot of health very quickly, but it has a very tiny radius, so you have to stay very close to it. And so it's good if you're going to stop and take a breather, but that's about it. Like, it's not good in boss fights, and it's not good in an actual fight, because the radius is so small. It's kind of like Terra Magica in a way, of it's powerful, but it's not very practical in most settings. And I kind of imagined it being more like the one that you see Melina use when you summon her for Morgott. The one that's like a massive tree, like the size of one of these trees, and covers almost the entire like boss arena. And I was kind of expecting that. I mean, it would be very powerful, especially in like a PvP setting. But it costs, or it requires 70 faith. Now, it does only cost 30 FP, but personally, I'd be fine with it costing like 70 or even like 100 FP if it was like the one that Melina uses, where it covers such a wide area. I feel like that would be a lot better. I feel like I rolled that too early. I rolled that too early. Nope. We are not doing a lot of damage. Oh, I thought he was gonna do the shield one, where he jumps up and then slams in a bit of a delay. So that's why I just didn't roll there. Wow, that combo went on for a bit. A lot longer than I expected for being on horseback with a halberd. That's what I expected. And he did it there. I don't know how you tell the difference between those two attacks. There probably is a way. But I haven't fought these guys. I rolled too early. Yeah, I haven't fought these guys in like forever. Because they're like a base game boss, and they're not that common of a base game boss despite showing up repeatedly. Like, just thinking about them, I know there's one at the very beginning of Limgrave, and then there's two... Oh, we can level up. You can get 5 and 5. There's also endurance. I'll go with endurance for now. Yeah, there's one at the very beginning of the game. There's a dual fight in Altus Plateau, kinda guarding the path to the capital outskirts. I don't know if there's any beyond those three, though. There might be. If you count the Draconic Tree Sentinels, then there's the one blocking the way to Lanedale. And there's the one right in front of Malekith. But they feel different enough for me to count them as at least somewhat different experiences. There's also a hole somewhere around here. I don't remember exactly where the hole is. It's here. There's the hole. And, well, like, there's a colossal hand in there, which is pretty cool. But I don't enjoy fighting them that much. It's more just a cool thing to see occasionally. Stop. No. Yeah, it's just cool to see an enemy that big occasionally. But I don't think going down there is actually worth it. Don't know who shot that at me. Hello. So. Come here. Ow. Alright. I have heard from a friend. I don't know if it's actually true or not, but I don't see a reason to disbelieve. But I have heard that if you get hit by that in co-op, apparently several spawn. I don't know if that was just like a one-off experience that they had, or if that's something that happens consistently. But that would be a terrifying thing to see. Getting hit by that, getting knocked off your horse. I mean, it was in co-op. I don't think you can use your horse in co-op. But getting stun locked and then having like 5 enemies just swarm you instantly, that would be horrifying. I know that there's also a boss, like another base game boss there, a Morningstar Beast, I think they're called. But they just...
My, you poor thing. Another bad dream, Yuri. Put that rotten thing out of your mind. That tangled mess can't hurt you.
But yeah, that would just be a terrifying experience. Now here... he's got, I think they're called finger creepers. He's holding a small one. And he said, that tangled mess. Now that we've beaten the game and know what he's talking about, well, that's... it makes me feel weird. I don't know if creeped out or unnerved would be the word, but weird, definitely.
Hello there. I heard another sound, colored by your essence. Simply exhilarating, I must say. The stars are dark tonight. But rest assured, this is no ill omen. On the contrary, I believe that this portends a magnificent starry cascade. Now, take this. My final gift to you. May you join the glimmering stars above. Oh yes. I believe I can feel it brewing. This evening is a sign of a greater night to come. Do you recall what I said? That Marika and the fingers that guided her were unsound from the start? Well, the truth lies deeper still. It is their mother who is damaged and unhinged. The fingers are but unripe children, victims in their own right. We all need a mother, do we not? A new mother. A true mother who will not give birth to further malady. May you join the glimmering stars above.
Yeah, I think of my initial thoughts on him, of him just being a little bit unhinged, might be true. I've changed my opinion on some things going from the first run to now already, being the technically third run, but the second run I'm recording. But I've changed some opinions, not that one.
I told you once, I've no interest in companionship, but I must admit, Count Ymir did seem very pleased. Perhaps an exception is in order. Ymir is a shining star, in our eyes, the only star upon the black canvas of the night. Our meeting with the Count taught us of the star-draped sky. We know that we cannot reach out to touch it. but we can peer up at its brilliance and heed its guidance. We will never again lose our way in the night. I have spoken far too freely. Pay me no mind. Let us focus on our shared purpose, our service to Count Ymir. Now, be on your way.
Still always enjoy when the more guarded NPCs like that start talking. And then go, no, I've been far too free in what I've spoken about. So, just ignore me. As you can see there, he's no longer in his chair.
Forgive me. I failed you. Failed to birth you whole. But it won't be long now. I will soon be a mother. I will give you new life. I assure you. You will have life. Please, will you allow the two of us this time alone? It isn't much to ask. Please, will you allow the two of us this time alone? It isn't much to ask.
So, yeah, that's something I missed on the first character. And thought I'd show it here since it's not too out of the way.
Now.
Whoosh. This thing is stuck to us. There it goes. So we can now press the button and open this up. But just as I showed that on this character, but not on the first character, there's something related to down here that I showed on the first character, but will not show on this character. Just for the sake of being a bit evil. Oh, we can pop this. Invaded by Sword Hand of Knight Anna. Yeah, I got pretty good at dodging that. Also, I showed off a build that used that weapon. Not my build, but a build. One that a friend of mine created. Wonder if that'll get us all of our health back. We can throw on Blessed Dew to ebb in some more health, because why not? Do we have it? We do not. Oh yeah, Claw of Night. And this is a pretty cool weapon, because all the heavy attacks have you throw them out and then they reappear into your hand, kind of like a Smith script weapon. And the scatter shot throw skill mixed with the blood loss build up combined to make it a very decent skill, actually. And this has pure dex scaling like nothing else, which most weapons don't have. And so I'm kinda a little tempted to use it, but I don't think I will. Mostly because I have the Pata, and I've been using this and it's been fun. But that's something that I've noticed a decent bit about the DLC, is it really strived to kind of smooth over some of the issues that people had. Like, axes and spears don't have enough range. Okay, give them a smith script weapon so you can do a charge attack to throw them. Same with melee builds don't have enough ranged options. Smith script weapons do that as well. And then like fists. Oh, fists don't have enough range. Alright, here's a fist with like the range of a straight sword. And so you have that. And oh, claws don't have enough range. So here's a claw that's not only pretty long, giving it more range than most claws, or at least some claws, but the heavy attacks also go out a little bit. And you also have scatter shot throw. And then you also got hand-to-hand weapons as another thing, where it's just another, like, hand-to-hand or, like, a pure melee option. Kind of like fists or claws. Where it's not a weapon, it's kind of like you're using your fist as a weapon. And I appreciate that. I appreciate how much work they put in order to create more options. Green burst and opaline. Okay. Ow. Oh, I thought they were gonna open their chest and spew some gunk out. Not being a very good mom, are you? That was nearly my entire health bar. I rolled too late. Alright, so... yeah, I don't particularly see myself winning this one. Because of how much I'm really getting hit. Like, ma'am, please, you're not being a very good mother. Yeah, like, I am out of healing. So yeah, I'm not winning this. I didn't realize they were gonna do a third. So I jumped to get a jump attack when I should have stayed on the ground to roll. Okay. But considering, compared to the first run, I have less Scadutree blessings. I believe I'm a lower level. Yeah. Yeah, less Scadutree blessings. Lower level. Much worse armor set. I might have had on the Oathkeeper set by this point, but still a worse set. So given all that, I feel like I didn't do terrible there. And I feel like if I applied myself, we could beat the boss without leveling up, without going and getting more Scadutree blessings, without using Mimic Tear. But I'm not... Oh, I also didn't have Dragon Crest Great Shield or Pearl Drake on. That probably also contributed. That almost certainly also contributed. But I am going to use Mimic Tear, partially because I'm just kind of too lazy. Mostly because I'm just too lazy, but also partially for the sake of time. Because I've noticed that over the years I have gotten significantly lazier when it comes to actually learning bosses. Like, I'm simply too lazy for such activities anymore. That was rude. I'm gonna go get... I hope that's not a laser beam coming from the back of my skull. Oh no. It was something to go for Mimic here. That was a fun little side kick attack. Those are just mini explosions that you just have to stay away from, right? Sir, please, I'm trying to shoot you. Good. 504k, Remembrance of the Mother of Fingers. We could get that, but I'm not going to. We can head back to the Table of Lost Grace. And like I said, probably could have just applied myself to learn the boss and beaten them, but partially for the sake of time, mostly for the sake of me being lazy, I'm not gonna do that. So we can either get a staff, and yeah, on the third line, Catalyst for casting both sorceries and incantations. And it scales off of intelligence and faith. So dual intelligence faith people and people who use both sorceries and incantations could use that. That sounds nice. And then a colossal weapon for strength and a bit of intelligence. Which strength int do kind of enjoy that. It's a bit unique. And then yeah, this is strength faith. It's another arbitrary holy damage thing. Although I think this one makes more sense than some. Alright, cool. I think I'm just going to get all the weapons. Because I'm not going into magic. And I could give the weapons to someone else, because I don't think you can drop magic. But I'm pretty sure you can drop weapons in multiplayer. Pretty sure you can do that, and that's something that I like to do occasionally. Like, if I'm going to delete a character, I have no problem just buying a bunch of boss weapons like that, and then going, hey, does someone want this weapon or this armor set? Or does someone want a weapon or armor set? Because I've got a character that I'm going to delete, and it's like, might as well get rid of it by giving it to someone else, right?
What have you done? You've wounded Count Ymir most irreparably, such that he wishes for your death, and I must attend to the Count's concerns.
Whenever there's a fight where the characters talk, I like to let the characters talk. That was rude. I was just trying to shoot you. Oh, that was cool. Yeah.
Oh, my dear star, a fine mother. You will be.
My shining star, grant me a mother's strength. Look here, at my fingers. I will be the true mother. And I will be the only mother.
But they did the thing that some of the other bosses were doing. In some of the previous parts. Oh, that's like half my health bar.
Oh, my dear children.
Sir? Bearing children isn't good for the health. So please stop.
Forgive me, Yuri. Truly, I desired to be your mother.
Alright. 252k. Ymir's bell bearing, the maternal staff, and the high priest set. Alright, so maternal staff compared to Staff of the Great Beyond. I don't know how it does on sorcery scaling because we can't use either, at least properly. But Great Beyond is for dex, or for int and faith, and can use sorceries and incantations. Whereas the maternal staff does intelligence and arcane, and enhances finger sorceries. So, an Int Arcane Glintstone Staff. I believe there's one more. Like maybe the Elden Orc Staff. I don't know where this would be useful, though. Like, where someone would use Intelligence and Arcane. Besides, maybe, like, someone using a katana with a bleed affinity on it. And they're also using magic to buff their weapon. And have some range. Like, maybe that, but... I don't know. I don't see how that would be too terribly useful. Dear cherishing fingers, and also Yuri, beloved child, taken before his time. And the cherishing finger sorcery is a defensive one that he was using. So I can see it being somewhat useful against human-styled NPCs, or maybe in PvP, maybe a bit. We have one Iris of Occultation. I don't know where the second one is, because you can get two. But now she's here.
Count Ymir, the stars, the sky. I see them not.
That's because you're inside. If you go over there and wait until nighttime, then you could see them. But last time we gave grace, this time we'll give occultation.
No light anywhere at all. This is the night I know. Our night.
And if we reload the area, we will get our reward. In case you don't know, there are two NPCs like this, at least that I know of, that I have found. If you give grace, you will get them as a spear dash. If you give occultation, you get their weapon. So this one is the Sword of Night, which is a dexterity-based katana. Now that I'm thinking about it, I could do Sword of Night as the heavy weapon, and Claws of Night as kind of the weaker weapon. I can definitely see that being an option. But I feel like what we've got going on is pretty good. So might do this another time. But yeah, as you can see, this is like a shadow katana. And it says, sword of an all-consuming bottomless black that devours even the light that shines upon it, wielded by Jolan, sword hand of night. The blade of the sword is only semi-corporeal, and this cannot be guarded against completely. Which means that even if someone shields it, they still take a little bit of damage, and I'm assuming that's what the magic damage is for. So that way, even against a 100% physical shield, there is no 100% magic defensive shield. So that's probably why the magic is there, to add with that lore. But unique skill, Witching Hour Slash. Hold the sword level and infuse it with the Dark of Night before unleashing a series of incorporeal attacks. This attack cannot be blocked, can be charged to increase its power. So One-handed might seem like a pretty normal katana. Two-handed might seem like a pretty normal katana. With all of the normal attacks, rolling, backstep, jumping, running. But there are two aspects that make this katana unique. The first is the heavy attacks. Where whether you tap it or hold it, they do double slashes. And the second is the unique skill. If you just tap it, and then if you hold it, so it's kind of like a mini Hand of Millennia or Waterfowl Dance. At least aesthetically. The visuals kind of give that vibe. But yeah, pure dexterity scaling. Got a little bit of blood loss. It's got a unique visual and a unique skill, and it does a bit of magic damage, so even if an enemy shields it, they don't block all of the damage. And then it can be paired with the Claws of Night. Since they're both weapons of night, they both have pure dexterity scaling. Neither of them can be infused. They both do a little bit of blood loss. They're all pretty fun looking weapons. Though, with that being said, I think we can end it here today. We just did Cathedral of Manus Metyr, which might not look like much on the map. We also did Hinterlands. So, we did all of the Hinterlands, taking out 2 tree sentinels, getting the shaman village, and getting to the finger ruins of Dheo. And then we went to Cathedral of Manus Metyr, beating the Mother of Fingers, getting some lower information, and then fighting the Sword Hand of Night, Jolan, and Count Ymir. So we got 3 different bosses there in this part. We have also gotten the beloved Stardust, which shortens casting speed for sorceries and incantations by the utmost. So it's kind of like Radigan Icon, but even faster casting speeds, but at the cost of increased damage taken. Whether that's worth it or not, I don't think so, but it's there. We got the Minor Erdtree Incantation, which I gave my opinions on that, but if you're willing to deal with how small the radius is, the amount of healing that it gives and how fast it gives that healing for just 30 FP is quite good. We got the Golden Braid, which is basically the Halig Drake Talisman +3. Though it has a unique name and visual, but that's effectively speaking what it is. We got the Cerulean Sea Talisman +1. We got the Claws of Night, the ability to craft Fingerprint Nostrum. We got Staff of the Great Beyond. We got Ymir's Bell-Bearing, the Maternal Staff, the High Priest set, the Cherishing Finger Sorcery, and the Sword of Night Katana. So, even though it might not look like much on the map, although there's this big chunk here, but still pretty much fully did an NPC quest line in this part. Like, the majority of it, at least. Including finishing it. Along with taking out a major boss, like a remembrance boss. And 2 smaller bosses. So, I'm pretty happy with that. I feel like that's a good progress. And, yeah.